Noted. I hope you're well.
I'm doing well, sir.
Okay. We're looking at the current financial situation of cocoa board, and we're placing it against what is actually happening on the ground in terms of cocoa farming. How are we faring?
Well, generally speaking, farming is a very difficult venture, and then it is developed with a number of challenges. And cocoa farming, which is also tree cropping, have their peculiar challenges. And because of the way cocoa is, um, the end product has to also be determined or to be received by somebody else, like we export it generally. So they also help to determine the quality of the cocoa. So all these things lead to peculiar challenges for cocoa production, which we have been dealing with, not to talk about the peculiar diseases that also affect cocoa. Apart from that, there's now emerging challenges to the cocoa production, which hitherto was not known. For instance, Galamsey used not to be a major threat to cocoa production, but today it is. Not necessarily physically destroying the land, but the mere fact that some water, dirty water and all that could be diverted into cocoa farms could go a long way to affect the cocoa production. So all these we have the old traditional challenges, and now we have these emerging challenges that are also coming on.
So, does that mean we'll be having, surely, perhaps soon, a further reduction in our production?
Well, that one is imminent if we don't take very drastic measures to address the menace of Galamsey. The unfortunate thing is that this menace is not only a distraction for today, but permanent distraction to agricultural lands and agricultural resources. So it's something that we must not look at it within the short term, but we should look at it into the future. Even no matter what our policies will be, how good they will be in the future, we may just simply not have the lands suitable for most of the agricultural production that we are doing. You can see that the state doesn't have the capacity to do a reclamation of the lands that have been destroyed or by the Galamsey because they are not organized. And it's done everywhere. And we know our country does not have that money to make such a nationwide, so to speak, reclamation of devastation caused by Galamsey. And the reclamation is very expensive. It also requires specialized knowledge and so on, and some particular attention to it. So it's something that cocoa production will suffer. It's not only cocoa production, even all tree crop production will suffer. We talk about oil palm, we talk about rubber plantation, then not to now talk about vegetables, pawpaw, all manner of things will suffer in the future.
So there's a huge competition for land between those who are into Galamsey or small scale mining and then our agriculture. And the longer we just watch on, the worse it will become.
For me, I don't even know whether to call it a competition. It's not competition in my view. Competition is to say that you take the land you use for this one, and then it's not available for another one. But this one is permanent distraction. Even after the Galamseyers leave the land, you cannot use it again. You cannot use it again. So it's more than just the competition that we know, but it's permanent distraction. And that is the next 10 years, all of us will not know how we are unable to feed ourselves. But it's all because of what we have done today. And we can see it coming. The rate at which agricultural resources are being destroyed, no particular crop or subsector is left untouched. It's permanent destruction. It's permanent destruction that they are causing. Look, all our rivers will dry up. Look, river course have been diverted by the Galamsey. They are polluted to a point where there's no life in those rivers. You know, so even though we know that we don't have enough water, because we need irrigation to increase irrigation agriculture. And cocoa production also in some areas, they even have to do irrigation to make sure that in the season, anytime they need water, they can pump water for it. Now all those resources are being destroyed permanently. You know, it's sad, it's sad, it's sad, it's sad. And the future of this country is being shattered today. Look, apart from that, if you look at the way we are also indiscriminately building everywhere, estate development, the organized ones and the non-organized ones, if you move along, you just see buildings springing up anywhere. And the best lands sometimes are even used for estate development. That is poor planning for the future. Because agriculture cannot take place in every land. Not every land is suitable for agricultural purposes. So we must demarcate our lands, protect them, and then make sure that those that are good for agricultural production, we preserve those ones for agricultural production, because the yield per plot there is very high because the soil is fertile and so on. But we are not doing all those things. And I'm telling you, the next 10 years, even if you want to expand agriculture and do it in commercial level, you cannot, because there are houses dotted all over. Look, currently, the companies that have already been established and they are doing plantation agriculture, they are looking for land to expand. They are not even getting the land. Apart from that, what they have already have, the concessions they already have, where they are producing, they have their trees on, is being encroached by these Galamseyers, and sometimes in the name of community mining. Community mining is nothing but another form of Galamsey, because it's not regulated. Galamsey is unregulated mining, and the community mining is also unregulated. So it is only a name, but in reality, it is Galamsey. So this is what we are doing to ourselves today and the future.
So this is not even limited to cocoa farming at all. This is our agriculture, the situation of agriculture as we speak. That needs to be dealt with urgently.
Well, I think that we are simply, if we all believe, and we know, it is not that we believe again, it's a reality, that cocoa is the backbone of this country. Why would we pay particular attention to cocoa? Look, cocoa has served this country so well, and we have known that Cocoa Board itself has got some robust administrative structures. We know that these structures from time to time need to be reviewed, they need to be strengthened, and so on. That is normal of every institution and so on. But, you know, if cocoa goes, tell me which of the three crops will replace cocoa. Now we are talking about promoting tree crop agriculture. We've gone to the World Bank to take 200 million. Meanwhile, the existing tree crops are being threatened by Galamsey. You see, why? So what are we doing? And the loan we have gone to, the money we're going to pick from World Bank. World Bank doesn't give. I don't know whether it's a grant or it's a loan or it's whatever. But the least we can say is that it's a loan. Because it's better for us to say it's a loan until we now hear that it's a grant. But why will we take money and invest in an area that we are sitting down and allowing it to be destroyed? So it's so serious for some of us where we sit and what we see. And I'm telling you that it's not only cocoa, but the entire agricultural system is threatened. And cocoa being the economic backbone of this country will be shattered forever. And I don't know whether posterity will ever forgive it, wherever it will be.
Top that off with recent complaints about the inconsistency in payments from Cocoa Board for beans bought from farmers. Has that also been reduced, at least dealt with?
You see, again, I just want to put it that if you have an economy that is sick, cocoa board is part of the sick economy that we have now, the crisis economy that we have. And cocoa board has, look, for me, I would think that is our current economic crisis is due to the fact that we have weakened cocoa board to a point where it is not able to salvage this economy again. Years back, we always often hear that, oh, the syndicated loan, when it comes, exchange rate will come down, more dollars will come in, and the CD will be stabilized, and so on and so forth. The recent syndicated loan that came, we didn't see it stabilizing the CD as we used to know. It's also because the mess in the economy is so huge that even the strength of cocoa board is not able to take it. And we are also, by that, weakening the institution that holds all of us. So this bond restructuring and all manner of things, it's not, cocoa board cannot be left alone. It cannot be an island. When in the whole country, in our economy today, all bonds are attached. Government, which has control over all bonds, will certainly not be touching other bonds and will not touch cocoa bonds. So the crisis, the restructuring that you are seeing, cannot be a matter that government is not aware and government has not interfered with the normal running of the cocoa bonds, and just as it was in the past. Government interference has also caused the need for this restructuring and the rest and so on.
Well, in the meantime, the Ghanaian Times is quoting you to have said that 850,000 Ghanaians have been impoverished due to rising food prices. What's your basis? Because this is a definite figure that you've given.
I've not seen that particular report from the Ghanaian Times, and I don't know whether they are quoting me. But the figures are not necessarily the...
Sorry. I think I'm making a mistake. There's a certain Mr. Kobna Jan Kwachi who is being quoted that we are looking at about 850,000 Ghanaians who are being impoverished by rising food prices. And is the situation that bad?
Well, you see, even if figures have not come out, we all know that we are in a crisis situation. We are aware that food prices are going up, and food inflation is leading the national inflation for a number of years now, about 2-3 years now. So it tells you a bigger picture. And you recall that in the recent release by the government statistician, he asked government to try and investigate the reasons why, even in spite of the season that we are, that is, we are almost in the harvesting season, or we are harvesting in the southern part of the country, which is the major season. Food prices are still going up, and that food inflation is still leading the national inflation or driving the national inflation. So it defies the logic that when you enter into the harvesting season, food prices will come down, and then food inflation will also come down. So the assertion that a number of people, thousands of Ghanaians, have fallen into poverty because of the rise in food prices cannot be discounted. Someone may say, oh, the figures are too much, or someone may say the figures are low. But the reality is that if prices are going up, and all of us know that in generality, there is no jobs anywhere in Ghana now. The private sector is so much contracted and bedeviled with challenges of paying high electricity costs, water, all manner of costs, and other taxes, to the point where they are just incapable of, even maintaining their status, their current employment status, let alone to now employ more. So more and more people are coming into the employment zone, young men and women. They don't have jobs. So certainly, those who already have jobs will not have to distribute their incomes among those who do not have jobs. So there will be less money for them to be able to afford even the high prices of food that we have. So if people are falling back into the poverty bracket, it is not an imagination, it is a reality, and we cannot dispute it. The numbers, I even think that these numbers are low. I even think that they are low.
850,000 is low for you?
For me, it's low.
It's not close to 1 million people.
Why not? Why not? Just look at it consistently. The food prices started going up when? Even 2022, 2021, if you go back to the statistics from the government statistician, that is Ghana Statistical Service, you will see that consistently food inflation has been the major driver of the national inflation. It means that prices have been going up. So why would these figures be low? And when there's no food, who suffers most? It is those who are close to the poverty line. That is, that they are above the poverty. They will all relapse and get back into the poverty line. So it is not an imagination, and I will not dispute these figures. For me, I would even think that the figure is even understated. We should expect a bigger figure, and we should work to make sure that we reduce this, and then also to prevent us falling into serious crisis in future.
In fact, the three authors of the report, which is from the World Bank, Kobina Jan Kwachi, Paul Andres Korah wrote that there's also David L. Malley. They are of the opinion that 7.7 million Ghanaians are deemed to be food insecure as at the end of 2022. What is the drivers for this increase in food prices? Is it that we don't have food available?
Okay, so you can see that the mostly reports are historical. The position they give is historical. Now, this report, which we are now examining, is talking about 2022. We are in the in the second half of the 2023. So from January to date, many more people would have also gone back into the poverty zone. So the figures will certainly be higher than it is now. Now, to the main question as to what is causing this situation where food prices are up. Look, if you look at Ghana did well by trying to have a policy to increase food production and then also to create jobs. That is the Planting for Food and Jobs program. But it was poorly managed. It was poorly managed. And because it was poorly managed, we incurred costs, yet we did not get the benefits. Well, all of us are aware, and it is the media is replete with this facts, that fertilizers that were imported to be distributed to farmers were smuggled out. To the extent that we had this phrase that the smuggling was so lucrative, and it took a novel, level that even donkeys, unmanned by humans, were smuggling the fertilizer. So when you hear this from government officials who have the mandate to ensure that this fertilizer is not smuggled, and they are telling us it means they've given up. It means they gave up. And that was as far back as 2021. What about 2022? Government-owned support for the agricultural sector has been declining. After 2021, government support in terms of fertilizer subsidy was 36%. In 2022, it was reduced to 15%. Now this year, there's no more going to be subsidy for fertilizer for farmers. So government support itself has been declining. Yet, or in the face of the declining support of government support, prices and cost of production is going up. Fertilizers have be more than doubled the price, tripled the price. Agro insecticides and so on have more than tripled the price. Cost of preparation of lands and the rest have more than doubled. Fuel prices have gone more than doubled. All these things are cost of production. You see, road network have also deteriorated to the extent that you need to factor all that cost into your cost of production. So it is not surprising, and these are the factors that have actually led to the increasing cost of agricultural production. And when the cost of production goes up, what it means is that some farmers would scale down their production. They will scale down their production. New entrants will no longer come in. So while people are scaling down their production, there are new entrants. And we've all seen what has happened to the poultry industry. Up to 70% of the poultry industry is collapsed. And day in, day out, our relationship with them and our information from them is that they've been scaling down because cost of feed for the poultry is escalating day in, day out. There is no maize in the country for poultry farmers to use for their beds. Not to now talk about the importing some of the ingredients that is needed to be used with the maize to formulate the feed for the poultry. Those prices are also going up. So many of the farms are just collapsing. So if farms are collapsing, and if there are few birds that are now left with eggs, the price will go up. What we are doing to ourselves as a country is that we are systematically, deliberately, through policy, collapsing local production and giving advantage to imports. Because people will not sleep hunger. If there's no food, if domestic production is costly, then they'll go in and import. And whilst we are collapsing local production, we are increasing importation. And recently you've heard that permission has been given to the U.S. to export pork and pork products into this country and all manner of things. All those things are going up. So this is the real situation. So until we invest in addressing the domestic production challenges, and we'll continue to depend on imports, and we'll continue to also import inflation. Well, when there's inflation in those countries, the price will go up there. And when the price go up, it will buy those ones and come into our economy. It is not rocket science that we don't know what has happened to us. We know what has happened to us. It is not rocket science that we don't know the solution. We know the solutions, but we are just not ready to actually implement the solutions.
But are we in the position to implement the solution now? Because you're talking about governments, you're talking about actually governments, government's ability to support dwindling. Government is not able to subsidize fertilizer as it used to, among others. Are we in that position to do that?
Well, I think that we are in a position to do that. It's just the question of priority. We need to prioritize what we want to do. We cannot still carry on as though nothing has happened. When your incomes, revenues are dwindling, you need to cut down on some areas of expenditure. There's been a call on government to cut down on its size. But it seems government is not ready to do that. Sometimes they come up with arguments that, when you say ministers or when government functionaries are many, how many a day? If we cut down, it's nothing. But you see, it's not, you must also demonstrate that you are ready to do it. And then then we will now begin to see how much it would generate for us. But it appears government is not ready to cut down and then reprioritize. So we just simply need to reprioritize. Much as we don't have money to meet all our needs, and live the life that we used to live, we must still have money to invest in agriculture. Because you see, the majority of your people, that is the population of this country, depend on local production. You cannot push all of them to depend on imports. Imports will go up. You need more foreign exchange to import that. You are not sure about the quality of the import. Look, go into the market and try to just make just a survey. You will see different names, rice brands. You get scared. You get scared about the different names because we are importing them here. What is our capacity to ensure that all of them are of quality? We don't have that capacity. Our institutions that are supposed to regulate and standardize and give the standards are themselves under-resourced. We know about all that. They don't have the necessary budget allocation to them. Even the little that has been allocated to them in the budget, at the end of the year, is not disbursed. So we know what our capacity is in terms of checking imports quality into this country. That capacity needs to be increased. It needs to be raised. We need to support those institutions. We don't have the resources. So we need to invest more, increase investment in agriculture. But unfortunately, it appears to me that we are not doing that. And what we only do is to blame external forces. It is true. If external developments are creating problems for you in your country, you have to take steps to make sure that you increase your capacity to absorb those negative consequences coming from outside, or insulate yourself from them to a large extent. We are in a global community. We are not in an island. So whatever happens outside will also affect us. But how much it will affect you would depend on your over-reliance on them. And that is what we are doing. We are over-relying on imports and over-relying on external forces than trying to grow the domestic capacity to be able to create jobs, to be able to produce enough for ourselves, and then we'll now be able to save foreign exchange.
We have no choice. We have to find the money to do it.
We just have to find the money to do it because it is your poorest people who are poor. I mean, it is those in the communities. Look, go there and see. This dry season, if you see what people are eating, if you see, look, it's so pathetic. And let me tell you, all the figures in the Agric sector, in Ghana's production, like published by the Sascal Service, you see that they are all in negatives and declining. Livestock alone was going up. I mean, had a positive, but it's all because livestock was coming from our neighboring countries, the Sahel countries, Burkina, Mali, Niger, and so on. Later on, some news items came to give reason why it is so, because these jihadis, they are using the livestock to source revenue to finance their nefarious activities back at where they are. So they bring them into this country, sell them at lower prices, and then we think that we are doing well in livestock production, when in actual fact, that livestock has come from outside. Tomato production. Look, go into every menu, every home. If in the morning your meal does not contain tomato in it, the next meal will contain tomato. So it means that the per capita consumption of tomato will continue to rise, and we can never do without it. Why is it that we are unable to produce tomatoes to feed ourselves, and we depend on Burkina Faso? Now, Burkina Faso has got challenges. The farmers cannot produce as they used to. Even our own people who are traveling to Burkina Faso are at risk. So they will not also go. So at the end of the day, tomato from Burkina Faso, the supply will have a shortfall. And then the price of tomato will go up. Go to the market now and look at the price of tomatoes. And you weep, but you cannot do without it. These are things that, are we saying that Ghana does not have the capacity, the resources to produce tomatoes like Burkina Faso is doing? No. It's just that those who are supposed to lead us to do that are not simply doing it. And when sometimes they say all of us, it is not, you can't resign a problem to everybody. We will assign a problem to groups, individuals, and so on. You are in the studio here, I'm here. If there's a problem in the studio, why will I also be held accountable? Yeah, so it is very convenient to say everybody, every Ghanaian, but that convenience will not solve the problems.
Mr. Kareweh, thank you very much for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for allowing me to air my views on this important matter on your important network.
Like you say, it's an important matter. Mr. Edward Kareweh, General Secretary, General Agriculture Workers Union. God will talk